Morning glory and evening grace, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Welcome to the Hugh Hewitt Show. Senator Joni Ernst has long time been a friend of this program, and it is good to see you again, Senator. I'm sorry it's a situation our colleague Charlie gunned down, and I want to begin there with you. You've gone into war zones. You've been in war zones as a soldier, and you've gone into war zones repeatedly over the course of your service in the Senate on Codels and everything else. What was your reaction to this, and what do we do going forward about it?
Hugh, thank you so much. Absolutely heartbroken. And I think there are so many of us, especially in the halls of Congress, that saw Charlie as this bright, young, rising star that really garnered the interest and attention of so many young conservatives and even those outside of that conservative spectrum that wanted to find their place here in the United States of America. And he did that quite well. He could reason, he could debate, he could really lay out his points very convincingly. And he brought so many young people into the fold of our Republican Party, conservative, obviously leaders. So it has been a devastating blow. But what I have said many times over is that Charlie's voice will continue to be amplified in this. And it is just devastating. I really, really am concerned about, of course, his wonderful wife and his beautiful children. But I know that the movement will be strengthened because of their love for Charlie and our love for Charlie and everything that he has done for our great party and for the United States of America. So this is not the end, Hugh. I think Turning Point USA will continue to move forward and really take up this tragedy as a way to spurn further action in the future.
So, Senator, I had Justice Barrett on earlier today, remarkable jurist, and I asked her in layman's terms about the Brandenburg case, because it's very hard to do anything about speech on the internet. It's almost impossible. The justice doesn't weigh in on what Congress might or might not do, but it's very hard for Congress to legislate about the deep web. The suspected killer of Charlie spent less than a half semester at college. It's not college. He wasn't poisoned by college. He was poisoned by the web. And I don't know, do you think there's anything that can be done? You're retiring. And by the way, thank you for your service these many years. You've been such a fantastic United States Senator. But to your colleagues, what do you say? I don't think there is anything to be done other than to improve the culture generally.
Right. And Hugh, I think that is exactly it, is that we have to focus on our own homes. We have to focus on our own lives. And we really do have to police up what our children are viewing. And we've heard this in many schools across the nation where states are telling their school systems, no more phones in school. Let's focus on our studies. I think that social media has gone far, far too out on the fringes and really are poisoning the minds of our young people. I don't believe it is something that can be regulated by Congress, but we have to have active engagement by the families with their own family members, with our own children. Otherwise, you do see social media influencing our children as they are growing. It can have a very positive effect. I know that my own daughter and son-in-law, they have long followed Charlie Kirk, and so I saw that that was a tremendous benefit for social media. But then you have the hate speech that is out there that will come from the fringes. So no, I don't think there is anything constructively that Congress can do, but I do think at the state level and what can be focused on in the school systems, but most certainly, again, we need to be taking care of our own homes and our own families. And unfortunately, we have a lot of parents across America today that are really disengaged from what their own children are doing or participating in, especially when it comes to the internet and social media.
Wise words, Senator. I have to catch up with you about your trip to Israel, especially today with Secretary Rubio there, side by side, no distance between the United States and Israel. But some of our Arab allies are making noises about breaching peace deals with. It's especially rumored about Egypt and President Sisi. What is your word of wisdom to our Arab allies who have reached normalcy? The goal of Hamas was to destroy that. Do we think they're going to do that?
Hamas has been a blip on the pathway to peace and stability in the Middle East. And we have President Trump to thank for that with the Abraham Accords and bringing Arab partners into the fold with Israel. Are we at a tenuous point? Certainly we are, but we continue to see Arab leaders moving forward with the thoughts of normalization with Israel. It is a difficult time. We all realize this. But with Iran being tamped down, and hopefully we can keep our boot on their neck, they are less able to fund terrorist proxies throughout the region. And it is so important that Secretary Rubio, President Trump, others continue on with the mission of stabilizing our partners throughout the Middle East. We know that if the Middle East is stabilized, then we are safer here in the United States of America, unless that threat of terrorist attack on our homeland. So the mission of the president, the mission of Secretary Rubio is very, very important right now. I would continue leaning on our Arab friends and allies to continue looking to the West for their support, for their guidance, for partnerships. We can do this through the Abraham Accords as we celebrate the 5th anniversary. I've worked extensively on the issues in the Middle East, stemming from my own time serving in the United States Army and the National Guard in the Middle East. It is important that we continue to move forward, not only for our partners in that region and our most valuable partner, Israel, but also for our own peace and security here in the United States of America.
Senator Ernst, on the trip, were you able to go, for example, right behind Israel in terms of our allies is the United Arab Emirates, what General Mattis used to call Little Sparta. Have you been able to talk with their representatives about how important it is that the accords endure and are strengthened and expanded?
Absolutely. And I am a frequent visitor to UAE and making sure that I sit down with MBZ and all of his lieutenants or captains, of course, across the Emirates, and stressing how important this relationship is. I will be sitting down with their ambassador to the United States here in the next several days here in Washington, D.C., and continuing to stress our relationship and how important it is with UAE and how important it is that we maintain the Abraham Accords alliances. Again, it is a difficult time in the Middle East, but we have to remember who was behind October 7th. Who instigated this incident in Israel? It was Iran. It was their terrorist proxies with Hamas. We have seen Hezbollah. We've seen the Houthis. These are all common enemies of our Arab partners in the Middle East. So again, continuing to work on these relationships is extremely important. And that's why I'm glad that the president, as well as Secretary Rubio and others, are constantly engaging with leaders with our most important partners. Number one, Israel, but then also our other Abraham Accords partners. I believe that the UAE was the first signatory of the Abraham Accords. They are an incredibly important key to making sure that we stabilize the region. They've been great partners to us. We will continue working with them.
That's a great relief. I'm glad you're meeting with Ambassador Ataibi. I believe that he was really the prime mover behind the Abraham Accords. I think if you dig down and you look at his editorial about annexation of West Bank territories 5.5 years ago, he got the ball going. And so I'm glad to hear that. What are you most concerned? We had a minute, Senator. Which country among our allies are you most concerned about ties fraying between Israel with?
Well, I'm not going to call out any names today, but I would tell you, Hugh, that we continue to work on the relationships and make sure that all of our Accord partners are working together. And that's why it is so important to see President Trump traveling through the region. It is something that we did not see in the Biden administration. He simply wasn't capable of working on the Accords nor traveling. We have a strong president that is exhibiting leadership that has been lacking across the past 4 years in the previous administration. President Trump is committed to peace. We need that. We need our partners to stay engaged. So while I do worry about these tenuous times, I don't worry that President Trump is going to show the leadership necessary to keep all of our partners engaged. And they are valuable partners. So, I just want to publicly thank all of the members of the Accords. I want to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for continuing to move forward towards some sort of normalization. Again, things are difficult, but we're appreciative of all of the efforts of our partners.
Thank you, Senator Ernst. Good words, wise words. I appreciate your efforts on that on behalf of the Accords. They're vital to our interests. I'll be right back, America. Stay tuned.